another video.
It looks like Team USA is literally forcing Caitlin Clark to change her number, swapping out her infamous number 22 for a brand new one. And let me tell you, Team USA just made a decision that has the entire basketball world absolutely furious. And I mean seeing red. They are forcing, not asking, forcing Caitlin Clark to give up her iconic number 22. We're talking about the number she has worn throughout her entire legendary college career, the number that's on her back right now in the WNBA. The backlash? Oh, it is swift and it is brutal. It's almost like Team USA is just now realizing they've stepped on the single biggest landmine in all of women's basketball. Before we dive deep into this absolute disaster, I want you to drop a comment below. Should Caitlin have been allowed to keep her number 22? No questions asked. Or is this just the standard, rigid way that Team USA operates? Because I promise you, after what I'm about to lay out, your opinion on this might change. And it might change real quick.
Because we ultimately know she was snubbed from the cover of Team USA. And not only is they snubbing her, the disrespect is continuing because it's looking like Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her number. Now, this article...
All right, so let's get right into what just happened here, because honestly, this is one of those situations where you just have to sit back and wonder if anyone at Team USA headquarters actually took a moment to think this through. Caitlin Clark, without a doubt, the single biggest name in women's basketball right now, the one player who single-handedly brought millions of brand new fans to the sport, is being forced to change her number just for the Team USA training camp. Let me be clear, she wasn't asked, she wasn't given an option, she was forced. And the number they're making her switch to? 17. Yeah, you heard that right. 17. It's a number that means absolutely nothing to her millions of fans, and certainly nothing to the incredible legacy she is building right before our eyes.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not a very creative person. I was born on January 22nd, so it's what I went with when I was about 5 years old, so.
Now, before we go any further, let's establish something incredibly important right here, right now. For Caitlin Clark, that number 22 isn't just a random set of digits on a jersey. It's a global brand. It is a core part of her identity. Think about it. That's the number she wore when she shattered Pete Maravich's all-time college scoring record, a feat many thought was untouchable. It's the number she had on her back when she led Iowa to back-to-back national championship games, capturing the nation's attention. It's the number she wore during her entire electrifying college career that transformed her into a household name. And of course, it's the very same number she's been wearing with the Indiana Fever as she continues to dominate at the professional level. That number 22 is as instantly recognizable in women's basketball as the number 23 is in men's basketball. When you see 22 on a women's jersey, your brain immediately flashes to one person, Caitlin Clark. That isn't an opinion, that's just a fact.
The case to be made that Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark, number 22, is the most recognizable number in women's sports right now. There is no argument to be made. There's no case to be made. Caitlin Clark, number 22, is the most recognizable number for any.
But apparently, Team USA either didn't get that memo, or even worse, they got the memo, read it, and just decided they couldn't care less. Because when the official roster was announced for the December training camp down in North Carolina, there it was, printed in black and white for the whole world to see. Caitlin Clark, number 17, not 22, 17. And in that moment, the basketball world collectively lost its mind. And here's where this entire situation gets even more ridiculous, if you can believe it. When you actually look at the full roster for this training camp, guess what? Absolutely nobody else is wearing number 22. The number is literally available. It's not like Isaiah Wilson is on this specific roster rocking 22, forcing them to make a tough choice between two superstars. It's not like there's some longtime veteran Team USA player who has worn 22 for years and has clear seniority. The number is just sitting there completely unused, and they still made Caitlin switch. I mean, make that make sense. Go ahead, I'll wait. The only remotely logical explanation anyone can come up with is that Team USA has some kind of arbitrary, bureaucratic rule about number assignments based on seniority or previous Team USA experience. Some kind of nonsense that prioritizes dusty old traditions over basic common sense. And you know what? That is exactly the kind of tone-deaf thinking that gets organizations like this into deep trouble. Because while they're sitting in their offices patting themselves on the back for meticulously following the rules, they are completely and utterly missing the bigger picture about what Caitlin Clark actually represents to the entire sport.
Caitlin Clark to wear number 17 at Team USA training camp. On December 24th, news broke that Caitlin Clark will be taking a part in the training, which that's what we talked about at the beginning of the video. Now, this right here this came out this came out on the 24th. So these are the numbers, man. Head on over to Twitter and check this out real quick. So this is what was released right here. It says Lauren Betts. Hold on, here's the ages. Where's the number? Here we go, right here. So these are the numbers. Caitlin Clark. Let me blow this all the way up, man. I want to blow this all the way up so y'all can see this. So as y'all can see there, man, how did Caitlin Clark number will be changed? So who's wearing 22? Or if you guys remember, Michael Jordan wore number 45 in the Olympics. Could Caitlin, because it don't look like no one's wearing number 22.
Let's just talk about the optics here for a second, because they are terrible. This is the very same Team USA organization that controversially left Caitlin off the Olympic roster earlier this year, right? The same organization that tried to justify it by claiming they were prioritizing experience and veteran leadership, while the entire basketball world watched in sheer disbelief as the most popular player in the history of women's basketball got snubbed. And now, when they finally do decide to bring her into the fold for a training camp, what's the very first thing they do? They strip her of her iconic number. Yeah, that is not a great look. In fact, it's an absolutely horrendous look. It's the kind of look that makes people think Team USA either fundamentally doesn't understand Caitlin's monumental value to the sport, or even worse, they understand it perfectly, and they're actively trying to diminish it. Because here's the reality that Team USA seems to be completely missing. Right now, Caitlin Clark is bigger than Team USA. Now that's not meant as disrespect to Team USA, or to any of the other incredible players who've proudly worn the red, white, and blue. That's just acknowledging the completely unprecedented impact Caitlin has had on women's basketball in just the past few years. She's brought millions of new eyeballs to the game. She's filled arenas that used to be half empty. She has single-handedly made women's college basketball and the WNBA into must-watch television. And a massive part of that brand identity, that global phenomenon, is that number 22 on her back. So when Team USA forces her to change that number, even if it's just for a training camp, they're essentially sending a message to all those new fans that Caitlin brought to the sport, that their connection to her doesn't matter, that the brand she's built doesn't matter, that the identity she's forged doesn't matter. Why? Because Team USA has its rules, and rules are rules, and who cares if those rules make absolutely zero sense in this very specific, very important context. And let's be totally real about something else here. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark's feelings or her brand. This is about maximizing the commercial appeal of women's basketball. Because whether Team USA wants to admit it or not, Caitlin Clark in a number 22 Team USA jersey would sell merchandise like absolute crazy. Parents would be lining up around the block to buy those jerseys for their daughters who idolize Caitlin. Fans would desperately want that collectible item that connects her legendary college and WNBA career to her international career. But Caitlin Clark in a number 7, that's just going to confuse people. It's going to create this weird, unnecessary disconnect between the player they know and love and the uniform she's wearing. And that disconnect, whether they realize it now or later, is going to cost Team USA money. Now, some people might try to argue that this is just how international basketball works, that FIBA has rules, that Team USA has traditions, and that no single player is bigger than the team. And you know what? Under normal circumstances, that argument might actually hold some water. But these are not normal circumstances. We are not talking about a normal player here. We are talking about someone who has fundamentally changed the entire landscape of women's basketball. Someone who has brought unprecedented attention and revenue to the sport. Someone who, whether Team USA likes it or not, is the undisputed face of women's basketball in America right now. And the backlash has been exactly what you'd expect. Social media absolutely exploded with criticism the very moment the roster with the numbers was released. Fans were furious, analysts were bewildered, even people who aren't normally invested in women's basketball were weighing in on how utterly ridiculous this decision seemed. Because from the outside looking in, it just looks like Team USA is going out of its way to make things difficult for their biggest star. What makes this even more frustrating is that Team USA had a golden opportunity to get this right. After the Olympic snub, they had a chance to show that they understand Caitlin's value. They could have made a huge deal about bringing her into training camp, given her the respect she has clearly earned, and let her wear the number that is synonymous with her career. Instead, they did the exact opposite. They treated her like any other player, applied their rigid rules without any consideration for context, and created yet another controversy that just makes them look completely out of touch. And here's the thing Team USA probably isn't considering. This training camp in December is going to have a ton of media attention, not because of the camp itself, but because Caitlin Clark is going to be there. Reporters will be asking about the number change, fans will be commenting on it, and every single story that comes out of this camp will mention that Caitlin had to give up her iconic 2. That's not the narrative Team USA wants, but it's the narrative they've created for themselves. You also have to wonder how this is playing out behind the scenes, because while Caitlin is undoubtedly a team player who will do whatever is asked of her, you cannot tell me she's happy about this. You can't tell me her agent is happy about this. You can't tell me her sponsors, who have invested millions in the Caitlin Clark brand that is inextricably linked to that number 22, are happy about this. This is the kind of decision that creates unnecessary tension and resentment. And what about the other players on the roster? On one hand, nobody wants to be the one who makes a fuss about numbers. But on the other hand, if you're a veteran, you're seeing the organization alienate the biggest star in the sport over something as silly as a jersey number. You have to be wondering if that's really the hill they want to die on. These players know better than anyone that Caitlin's popularity benefits all of them. A rising tide lifts all boats, and Caitlin Clark is the biggest tide in women's basketball history. The comparison to A'ja Wilson is also worth addressing. A'ja also wears number 22 for the Las Vegas Aces, but she isn't even on this training camp roster, so that whole argument is completely irrelevant here. What's really interesting is how this reflects Team USA's overall approach. It seems like they're trying to treat her like any other player, which sounds noble in theory, but is completely disconnected from reality. She is not just any other player. She's a generational talent, and pretending otherwise just makes Team USA look either clueless or spiteful. The phrase instant regret in the title of this video isn't an exaggeration. They are already feeling the heat from this, and the camp hasn't even started. The social media backlash has been relentless. Maybe that's the saddest part of all this. This training camp should be a celebration, an exciting opportunity to watch the next generation of talent. Instead, it's going to be overshadowed by a completely avoidable controversy. At some point, organizations need to learn that being technically correct by your own internal rules doesn't mean you're actually making the right decision. And in this case, forcing Caitlin Clark to wear number 17 instead of her iconic 22 is absolutely the wrong call from every perspective that matters. So yeah, Team USA is experiencing some instant regret right now, and they should be. They had a chance to embrace their biggest star, and instead, they chose bureaucracy over common sense. And now they're dealing with the consequences. So there you have it. Team USA forced Caitlin Clark to ditch her legendary 22 for number 17, and the basketball world is not having it. Was this decision justified, or is Team USA completely missing the point? Let me know exactly what you think down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of Team USA's latest mess, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe for more basketball content. I'll catch you on the next one.